5 minutes till we roll the intro.
Okie dokie.
Good evening and welcome to Wheelybins TV for the Wheelybins Mayhem Republic. We're here tonight at the Silverstone 260. I'm Daniel and welcome to Wheelybins TV this evening. In the commentary box tonight I have Matt Norris. Welcome back again, Matt.
Thanks, Dan. Good to be back.
Hopefully we can keep you for a little longer this year. Tonight you've got that computer sorted out.
Hopefully it doesn't cook any more PSUs. That'll be nice.
It would be nice if we can complete tonight's session, and what a session it's going to be. 45 lap race here at Silverstone. We were talking about it earlier. It's quite a tough track to get around.
It is a difficult track. A lot of difficult corners that sometimes you might take a bit more speed into than you really expect, and get a decent lap time out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And so far in the lap times, our current round leader, Nick Cummings, has already set the pace for the best of a 140 around here. It's going to be a tough one to beat tonight.
He set a nice benchmark there. Jamie's quick on his tail with a 141, so there is a second to be found there, but undoubtedly the times will come down as we get closer to our qualifying.
They will be, and it's all on the line tonight. We've got some great prizes up for the Venom series. Tonight's winner of the round will receive a $20 iRacing voucher, and so far up the top, Nick Cummings is leading this round 3 on 126 points. Duran's sitting in second in 114 points, and Jamie McKnight on 110 points. So out of the three of them, it's anyone's race really, and Kyle Stokes sitting there in fourth with 96 points could also take out the title if the other three fail to finish.
We could have an upset winner, and that's always good for great racing.
It will make it for some good racing. Also got some other great prizes on the line tonight. Wheelybins stubby cooler up for the person who manages to complete all of the races in this round, and that's important, I suppose, in Wheelybins, is completing races. So far we've got probably about 12 entries out of this Venom series for the round 3 that are in the running to win a Wheelybins stubby cooler. And also we've got 5 random prizes tonight, which I guess you and I can pick. Maybe it's the best stack, the best start, or best pass. So we've got 5 Wheelybins pens to give away to 5 lucky drivers tonight here at Silverstone.
Guess we'll have to keep our eye out for some special moves by some talented drivers looking to get themselves a nice pen.
Well, it's only something small, but everyone appreciates a good pen, that's for sure. It's going to be some great racing out there on the track. We're got 36 minutes remaining here in the practice session, so we'll head over down to the track and see what's been going on. Out in the track at the moment is our series leader, Nick Cummings, and he's been putting down some great lap times again already. So a 140.9 for his best, and Jamie McKnight a 141.
Also got Shane Evans on a 142.3 and Jackson Wilson Harlow on a 143 there as well. So the times do need to come down if they've got any chance of chasing down Nick and getting that win by him.
Yeah, that's right, and I suppose the times don't always matter. A 45 lap around here, it's going to be consistency that matters, but the thing is that the first 2 races, or first 3 races so far in this round, Nick has had consistency. He had a little bit of bad luck at Bathurst last week, missing out on the qualifying due to a wheel failure, and had to sit the qualifying out, which put him to the rear of the grid, but still managed to finish up in second place, so it's impressive driving by him.
Nick can come back from a failure and still get a second place. That's not a bad day at the office.
No, for sure. Someone else we haven't seen out there for the last couple of races, because he'd been joining me here in the commentary box, is Pete Davison. Tonight he said he wanted to race, and he was unable to also join last week, but he's going to hit the road tonight and see if he can impress us. So he stepped out of the booth and back in behind the wheel. We'll see what he can turn out. So far doing a 143, sitting in 5th.
He's got more time to find, but that'll undoubtedly happen. We've still got a fair while left in this practice session, so they're just working into the difficulties that is Silverstone circuit.
It is a difficult track. That first corner is a doozy. I'm not too sure what it is about it. That long sweeper, and you probably get that first half the corner right, but the last half the corner, keeping it on the track, very difficult corner.
I think it's because it's got such a long run-off that it invites the drivers to take more than they actually can. And once you've mounted that curb on the other side, you've lost your lap time.
Yeah, that's right. And in qualifying, we've got a 20-minute qualify session. You really need to make sure you keep these cars on the track to get a lap time down and make yourself count for the race tonight, because I think starting up the front of the grid's probably going to be important. That first corner can sometimes cause a bit of carnage, and you don't want to be back in the pack and stuck there with some car damage.
Not just the first corner there, Dan, it's also Maggots and Beckett's, and the following corner, which I have forgotten, is Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. That series of left, right is really going to cause some carnage in that first lap.
It will, and it's really hard to get a setup to get these cars to drive a flat corner like these. Getting that steering in, getting some good turn in, but you also don't want the rear too loose either, because coming out of those final 2 or 3 corners, you want to be able to put the power down quickly without losing traction.
You do want good drive for the straights. There's a couple of them here down the start-finish straight, and the long back hanger straight. But you do need good drive through the corners as well, and like you say, they are flat corners, so you've got to really pick your apex well.
And tyre wear will probably be a considering factor. We've got 70 litres of fuel in these cars as the limit tonight, so we're making sure these drivers will be having 2 pit stops. But doing I think that equates to about 17 laps a stint. 17 laps on tyres is going to be a tough one also.
It'll really be a case of, if you can manage your tyres, you will manage your stint quite well. It may even give you some fuel in hand to try and shore up that second pit stop a little bit more and get some track position back.
Yeah, and pit stops always an important part of the strategy. With 2 of them in play tonight, a lot of people are quite good at doing that undercut move, moving in a little bit earlier for the pit stop and managing to get the jump on the person that was either just in front of them or behind them and get a few more seconds of track time.
There is no better feeling than coming out of the pits in front of the guy you followed in.
You just hope that he doesn't get you back on the following pit stop, because normally with a gain like that, there's always a sacrifice maybe towards the end of the race. You play your cards right, sometimes it works.
Exactly right. That second stint really becomes about keeping that track position, so it negates the overfuel if you've got to take it in the second stop.
Taking a look at the drivers out on the track at the moment, we're looking at Jamie McKnight, currently sitting in the 2nd position on the timesheets, 2nd position in the overhaul championship, and 3rd position in this round championship, as we see him head off at the end of the corner at the main straight. They obviously put a lap down there, and that's good enough for him, maybe.
Like I was saying, it invites far too many drivers to take far too much lead through that corner.
Shane the Chief Evans, he's currently sitting all the way down in about 10th position this round, so managed to have a failure in the first 2 races that we held, so didn't get any points there. Hasn't finished strongly in the last 3 races of this round, so set him back down for the round 3 championship quite a way. However, he does still sit in the overall championship for the series in 3rd place, so possibly a good time for Shane to make up some points this round to get him back into the championship as we head into round 4 next month.
It's definitely a time where Shane wants to make up some position and get really in that championship hunt.
Jackson Harlow out on track, sitting in 4th at the moment with a time of 1:43. Haven't seen a lot out of him in the last couple of rounds. He was here for our the first race and also the 3rd race in the series, finishing position 8th and 15th in those 2. Also looking for a strong finish as well. It would get him up the ladder a little bit on the overall championship. Would be good to see.
Would be good to see. As far as I'm aware, that he's recently joined a brand new team in iRacing, so I'll be wanting to put on a good performance and make a solid debut with them.
Yeah, running a new livery on that car tonight, the CRM livery. Not too sure what the race team is there. You might be more aware than me.
I'm looking it up now, mate.
While you do that, we'll move over to Frank's Speed a consistent wheelie binner here in our series, as we just see him make that mistake off that first corner, also taking a little bit wide and out, but been quite consistent. Had to miss the last couple of races due to other commitments. He got a 2nd and 8th and a 9th in the first 3 races that we held in this series. Hasn't been able to make it to the last 2, so it's put him back in the points. Another strong competitor, really consistent. Hopefully we can get a finish out of the hot dog tonight.
Always something we want to get good finishes and see people really pushing themselves to get the maximum out of the car. Getting out of the lane now. So obviously going and searching of Nick's fast blistering time of a 140. Only got a 20-degree track temp at the moment, so I mean it is England, but there is still a bit of track to find some speed with.
It is quite cool out there today, however the sky doesn't look too bad. A little bit of dark cloud off in the distance might reduce that track temp, which is good for tyre life in the end. But once that rubber starts to go down on the track after all these laps as well, hopefully will help these cars out. Tyson McAvoy also out on track at the moment. He'd be looking to gain some points in this series, having missed a couple also, and get himself up the ladder. He's also got some fans all around the world that love watching this broadcast, so hello to you guys, and make sure you're cheering Tyson on tonight.
He takes Maggots, Beckett. Seems to have nailed those corners, missing the apex slightly there. But down to the hanger straight and putting the foot down, getting up to top speed.
Wade Michael, who's someone who's recently joined this series, running a fantastic monster Wheelybins livery on that Falcon tonight. Not just looking back on his last week's results. I really wish I had printed these in a larger font because it's quite difficult to read. He actually wasn't with us for the Bathurst round. He scored a 12th position at Phillip Island and 8th all the way back at Laguna Seca, so had some good results. Just got to bring up the consistency and he'll certainly be up in the pointy end of these championship rounds.
The massive thing about a championship, most of them aren't decided on race by race, they're decided on several races. So consistency is the key to getting up there and pushing towards the front.
Well, it's as true as real racing as we look to the 2017 Supercars champion. With Jamie Whincup, it was didn't win a lot of races, but was always at the pointy end towards the end of the race, which picked up points and snagged it for him in the end.
That's what you need if your competitor's going to have an unfailing. You need to be there with the points to take the mantle.
Daniel Richardson out on track, sitting in 11th at the moment as we see him take a bit of a cross-country through the corners there, mowing the grass for the greenskeeper here at Silverstone tonight. Running a snap-on Commodore.
He's making the greenskeeper's job a little bit easier, but I've seen him take that line a couple of times, so he's still got a bit of time to find, and he's still learning the circuit. But he's always going to find those troubles. Every race car driver will, when they're trying to exploit the limits.
So far we have 12 people here in practice for tonight. We've still got 25 minutes to go before we kick off into our 20-minute qualifying session, so no doubt the field will fill up. We started a little bit earlier this evening, so people will be getting home for a sad day, so I suppose those who work probably getting home from work, or those who are still recovering from the Australia Day yesterday probably still just getting out of bed. Yeah,
and they should be jumping on to Venom series and getting in their cars and getting going.
Yeah, get out on track and hopefully have a good result here tonight. Anyway, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back to the practice session real shortly. 25 minutes to go before qualifying. We hope you're enjoying tonight's broadcast of the Wheelybins Mayhem Republic Venom series here at Silverstone 260. We're running the GP Historic Circuit tonight. We'll be back shortly.
Welcome to West End Mazda. My name is Jamie McKnight, dealer principal, along with my business partners Terry and Adam Dodd. At West End Mazda, we're very proud of many things. We're especially excited to be Australia's oldest Mazda dealer, established in 1963. We're also #1 dealer for new vehicle sales in Australia and have been many times. And last year, in fact, we were #1 globally. We've won the prestigious Mazda Master Dealer Award 17 times, along with multiple Dealer of the Year awards, as you can see. West End Mazda is a family-owned business, employing over 160 staff, including apprentices, sales trainees, and parts interpreters too. So if you're looking to join an amazing team, we'd love to hear from you. We're Mazda's largest parts wholesale dealer in Australia too, with our recently opened massive spare parts facility at Kings Park. We have showrooms at 2 great locations, North Parramatta and Blacktown, with the Mazda range on display and 100 quality used cars for sale at any time. And our finance teams are on hand 7 days a week to assist you with your new or used purchase. We have 2 very large service workshops servicing over 100 vehicles per day at both Parramatta and Blacktown. Booking a service is easy via our website or our smartphone app. If you're in a hurry, we offer Mazda Quick Service, which means we can have you back on the road in under an hour. And you can have a complimentary coffee and use our complimentary Wi-Fi, all while you wait in comfort. West End Mazda is open 7 days per week at 590 Church Street, North Parramatta and 106 Sunny Holt Road, Blacktown. Plus, our service departments are open 6 days a week for your convenience. So come in and experience West End Mazda for yourself. Next time you're thinking about your new Mazda, I'm sure you'll be very impressed.
Wheelybins Mayhem Republic and Wheelybins TV. Thanks to our great sponsors West End Mazda and Limelight Motorsport for this great series. Welcome back. We are here at Silverstone this evening for the 260-kilometre race out on track. We're just having a look at a few drivers out on the track. Who were you focusing on while we were away there, Matt?
I was having a look at Kyle Stokes in an Autobahn Livered car. It looked like he was on quite a good lap through Beckett's and Chapel there onto the Hangar Straight. So looked like he was on a clean lap, but it came through at a 1:42. So it's put him up to third in the standings.
Third, not too bad for a time out here. If you can continue that consistency, second row of the grid through if he gets it on for qualify as well. We've seen.
Move him up the championship a little bit.
We've also seen Nick Cummings shave about 2/10 off his lap time, putting down a 1:40.6 from a 1:40.9 that he'd previously done. So shaving some time off there.
There's another driver that seems to have that little 2, 3, 4 complex sorted out. and now he's just got to find the time around the rest of the circuit.
The car looks really smooth through there, under control, straight under brakes, a little bit loose into that right-hander.
One thing the V8 is always good rewards is smooth inputs. So it's undoubtable to see the 140 lap time. It's a little bit crossed up.
Hope to see some fast racing tonight, that's for sure. You think we'll get down to the 139s at this track tonight?
I would hope so with the current track temp, but once the rubber goes down, it'll be interesting to see if it slows a few guys down or speeds them up. 139 is a possibility.
As we see another person join, Zach Best has joined the session also. Fast, just got to get that consistency up for Zach. Quick around most of the track, so we'll probably see some good times out of him tonight. Providing he can keep out of the traffic and out of trouble and finish the race, he'll probably get a good result.
Going to be the one key for all our drivers here tonight is getting that consistency and staying clear of that traffic if they are caught in a battle, using it to their advantage.
Finding the rhythm through the corners, something that flows. 45 laps around here is about an hour's worth of driving, so you want to be comfortable, you want to have a comfortable car, something that's not, you're not fighting for that whole hour of racing around this circuit.
The drivers are probably trying to tune into the car now, is having it a bit aggressive for qualifying, but finding a way to tune it back for the race and that hour long race distance. Which doesn't sound like a lot when you think about it, but travelling around Silverstone at approximately 200 something k's is quite difficult.
It is, and there's some very complex parts of the track that require concentration almost all the time. Even the straights, you've got to be thinking ahead, looking for brake markers. It's a little less obvious than some tracks. You've got the brake marker boards and you want to make sure that you hit them perfectly. Looking at Brendan Ryan out on track also at the moment. Hasn't set a time yet, but good to see he made the session. He was saying earlier he may not have been able to get, he was hoping to get home in time, but good to see him out on track.
On track in the car and about to put a lap time down, I should hope, at the end of this lap. A 1:45. So still a bit more to find, but good to see him on circuit and lapping.
Yeah, and he's definitely in there with the consistency in these rounds. He's been here for most of our races, which has done him a world of good. He may not have got some great results there, but he's always been consistent and managed to get to the end of the race, which is good to see.
It's always good to see drivers finish. Sometimes you might not need to win the race, but it just needs to be a really good battle. It's some of the best races you'll ever have. Following on with Peter Davison, who's back in 6th in the field, on a 1:43 in that retro Orcon delivered car.
Slick piece of machinery there for Pete Davison.
Those colours always look nice on an old car or a new car, they always look fantastic.
Someone who we've yet to see enter the session tonight is our second place in this round. Duran, the Wolf, hasn't yet entered the session, so hopefully he's not too far away. No doubt he's probably done a few laps of practice earlier on today to get this circuit worked out, and will come in and monster the timesheets later on this evening.
Well, his blistering quick pace from Athos is what fried my computer last week, so let's hope he gets on and sets the times alight.
He'll certainly throw the cat amongst the pigeons. He's up the top there. Nick's sitting pretty with almost a second above Jamie McKnight. Kyle Stokes sitting 1.4 seconds behind Nick in third place.
And then the gaps keep growing further back in the field, but we've got a fair way to go in this session before we're anywhere near qualifying and seeing what these drivers are all capable of.
Some of these corners on this track too, if it's a little bit unfamiliar to you, it can be quite deceiving because there is different variations and configurations of this circuit. So knowing when to turn left and right and making sure you see those witches hats where you do need to move is also an important part of this circuit.
Also a difficult circuit to memorise too. It's quite a long circuit. So by the time you're back to the start-finish straight, you've then got to refocus and try and memorise it all again.
As we see Kyle Stokes back out on track, done a warm-up lap, had to hit out for another go at the lap times.
If you can maximise turn 1 here and get that run down to 2-3. Yeah, it's positioned along the curve nicely there. That was happening there for him.
A little bit of curb and a bit of green mat through the corners.
That one looked like he took a bit too much, but that nose was pegged on one for that first couple of corners with Maggots and Beckett.
A little bit loose coming out of those corners also. Lost that drive down the straight.
We'll want to find some push in the back of the car and get the looseness out of it. That Autobahn car does look quite good though. It's anything like Craig Lowndes' car will look like on January 31st. It'll look like quite a good racer.
Yeah, all the teams in the Supercar Series announcing their new liveries for the 2018 series. Red Bull had theirs unveiling the other day. Some very smart looking cars for the new ZB Commodore.
It's a different body shape and one that'll take some adjusting too. But it's definitely going to make for some aggressive looking liveries. That Preston Hire one looked really superb.
Yeah, quite a different design of vehicle to get used to. Almost a little bit more like a hatchback, a four-door sort of a hatchback style car. A lot more sleeker over the rear with a lot less drop from the roof line down to the boot level. So going to change the aerodynamics on those cars quite a lot.
It's very much like an Altima sort of body shape with a large wing and not too much of a back door sort of situation going on.
The ZB Commodores might have a bit of an advantage this year. They're the new body style, whereas everybody else will be running either the older Falcon or the older Ultima, so no changes for a lot of the teams this year from the previous year. Could be an advantage or a disadvantage to the new body shape. We'll see how that pans out.
Also interesting to note, this is the first Comet or first car not designed in some way by Ludo Lacroix, so they may have a bit of a struggle on their hands, or they may be a bit quicker. Time will tell.
That is true. The man with all the knowledge sitting over in the shell paddocks now, so some big advantage for Scotty McLaughlin.
It's always good to have a wealth of information in your corner.
Up to 17 cars in the session so far, with 10 minutes remaining in this practice, when we'll roll into a 20-minute qualify session.
Just focusing further back on one of my teammates coming into Val Corner, JC Richards in the PRA Race Stars car. So best of luck tonight, JC, and get a red hot track.
He's certainly had some good results, reasonably consistent. Hopefully he can get it done tonight. I think it was back at the Phillip Island round he had some blinding laps, but I think he had a bit of bad luck and didn't finish quite as well as he should have there.
I think he has walked under a ladder at some point because he is very quick, but always seems to just get some unlucky patches. So Hoping that bad luck clears itself soon and he gets a solid result.
Yeah, because looking at the sheets, he actually hasn't had a finish in round 3 of the Venom series so far this year. So hopefully tonight's the night for JC.
I'll be willing him on as I always do. He takes it a bit too wide at 1. We see someone else has put in a lap time. See Jamie Knight starting a lap now. Trying to get that nose pegged online for that first corner.
Just jumped on board with Pete Davison. See if we can find some time to have a bit of a chat with him. He's under pressure a little bit at the moment, a little bit loose.
Got a bit of room now. It'll be a off the battle.
Back onto the straight. I'm unsure whether I should distract him and have a chat. Could be some concentration happening here. He's got some clean track. Whoa!
He's gone very wide at 1.
Found it very hard to get that car pulled up.
Also quite a bit of a doozy of a corner as we have discussed. It's always encouraging you to take more than you actually need to.
Yeah, for sure. As we see him head off on the track there, end up into the Armco wall, or the tyre wall. Unfortunate that will end his lap there for Pete. See if we can jump on board. Hey Pete Davison, you got Matt and Dan in the commentary box, mate. Little bit tough out there on the track as you see you hit the tyre wall. How's the track shaping up for tonight's race, mate?
Mate, the circuit feels great. Yeah, it feels really good. A lot of really fast guys out there, Dan. So just trying to get some laps down with some tyres and see what the pressures are doing and the temperatures. And yeah, it's quite exciting, that last lap.
Yeah, we were watching you during the lap and we weren't going to interrupt you. You looked like you were under intense concentration, but we might bother you a little bit later on in the race. We'll see how we're going.
Mate, all good, Dan. Yes, there's a lot of 143s there tonight, and yeah, 146 with Nick and a 141 from Jamie. It's pretty fast.
Yeah, good times and good fun out there on the track by the looks. Enjoy it anyway, guys, and hope you have good luck in qualifying. Speaking to Pete Davison there, in the number 27 Ford, Orcon Ford. He's currently sitting in 6th position, so not the best position so far, but it's it's consistency that could get this race, so hopefully he's able to manage that and get that done. Looking at Jamie McKnight, who's currently sitting in second position, the WPC concreting Falcon.
Is it just me, or is he getting that lap time a little bit lower?
He's getting closer, that's for sure.
Definitely looks like he's pushing that car to its limits and trying to find every inch of this Silverstone circuit, trying to maximise. And
so looking at the top 10, 3 minutes to go here in practice. Hopefully these guys have got the cars sorted out for qualifying, but also got a setup for the race. It's 45 laps here at the Silverstone historic GP track. Nick sitting comfortably at the top with a 140.6. Great time for around here. Jamie the 141 in second. Number 3, Kyle Stokes, 142.1. Number 4, Shane Evans. In the car number 17, 142.2. Jackson Harlow sitting in 5. Good time for him with a 143. Pete Davison in 6. Number 7, Zach Best, a 143. JC Richards moved up to position 8. Frank Speed in 9 and with a 143.4, and Tyson's crept into the top 10 with a 143.6.
these times are getting slightly closer to Nick's, and most of those drivers are definitely pushing to find that extra tenth.
Yes, we're looking at the times at the moment. There's a fight for the top 4 cars, and then there's the rest of the pack, 5 to up to 7 cars, all sitting in the 143 bracket. So it's going to be a tight mid-pack in this race. Some very competitive racing, no doubt.
Which could definitely make for either a really interesting battle or a really ugly couple of first turns on that opening lap. Interesting to see where they all put themselves in qualifying and if they can separate themselves from that.
One minute remaining here in practice. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with qualifying right on the other side of this ad.
Welcome to West End Mazda. My name is Jamie McKnight, dealer principal, along with my business partners Terry and Adam Dodd. At West End Mazda we're very proud of many things. We're especially excited to be Australia's oldest Mazda dealer, established in 1963. We're also #1 dealer for new vehicle sales in Australia and have been many times. And last year in fact, we were #1 globally. We've won the prestigious Mazda Master Dealer Awards 17 times, along with multiple Dealer of the Year awards, as you can see. West End Mazda is a family-owned business, employing over 160 staff, including apprentices, sales trainees and parts interpreters too. So if you're looking to join an amazing team, we'd love to hear from you. We're Mazda's largest parts wholesale dealer in Australia too, with our recently opened massive spare parts facility at Kings Park. We have showrooms at 2 great locations, North Parramatta and Blacktown, with the Mazda range on display and 100 quality used cars for sale at any time. And our finance teams are on hand 7 days a week to assist you with your new used purchase. We have 2 very large service workshops servicing over 100 vehicles per day at both Parramatta and Blacktown. Booking a service is easy via our website or our smartphone app. If you're in a hurry, we offer Mazda Quick Service, which means we can have you back on the road in under an hour. And you can have a complimentary coffee and use our complimentary Wi-Fi, all while you wait in comfort. West End Mazda is open 7 days per week at 590 Church Street, North Parramatta and 106 Sunny Holt Road, Blacktown. Plus, our service departments are open 6 days a week for your convenience. So come in and experience West End Mazda for yourself. Next time you're thinking about your new Mazda, I'm sure you'll be very impressed.
Start that again. Welcome back to the Silverstone 260 at the Silverstone Historic GP course tonight. Well, we're going to have a 45 lap race here. The final race of round 3 for the Venom series here, presented by Wheelybins at Mayhem Republic. Matt, it's been some great times out there so far on the track. We'll see who comes up tops in qualifying.
Been some great times out on the track, and it is only going to get better in the qualifying, where track limits start coming into effect, and it only really matters if you make a clean lap. All our drivers will be out there making sure they nail every single apex and get that really good timing to start up the front.
Yeah, because it will be important to get around those first few corners nice and cleanly to make sure that you can get a good run for the race. Got some great prizes on offer for the Venom series here with the Wheelybins Mayhem Republic. Tonight's winner, well not the race winner, but tonight's race will decide who wins round 3 here in the Venom series, and the winner of the Venom series for round 3 will receive a $20 iRacing gift card. Big thanks to our sponsors West End Mazda. Also looking for some consistency people, so those who have finished all the races throughout round 3 will go in for the raffle draw for a Wheelybins Mayhem Republic stubby cooler. And also we've got 5 random prizes to hand out of Wheelybins pens tonight, Matt. So plenty of great prizes on offer. There's going to be some great racing because everyone wants to be a part of it.
Everyone loves a prize, so everyone should be putting their best foot forward to go and get that. We see some time start to appear on the board now. Following on with Nick Cummings, has put in a 140.918, so he's following on some on practice form.
Yeah, that was the first of the fast laps he put down in practice, was around that, so he got down to a 140.6 it was in practice. So see if we can wind some more time out of that car.
He's obviously going looking for it.
He's headed back to the pits to see if he can find that.
Amy McKnight running just a slightly faster lap in quality than what he had managed in practice with a 141.501. He'll be actively pushing to try and get a bit closer to Nick there.
Yeah, he's certainly keen to upset Duran and Nick tonight and take the win and possibly win this round because he's right in the hunt for it.
All he needs to focus on is having his best race, and the rest of it will sort itself out.
Speaking of the man who's sitting in second for this round at the moment and sitting in number 1 position for the Venom series, Duran has made it to the circuit. You've seen his prime mover roll up earlier and he's rolled the All-Star Commodore out. straight out onto the track and knocked out a 142 so far.
Great to fist in this, on the grid, so he'll be pushing a bit more to get a bit further up.
Someone else
All looks really settled through that set of corners.
certainly did. It looked very planted. Someone else has joined us in this session. Muttley, Mr. Ian Holt. Great contributor to the Wheelybins, running the Wheelybins livery tonight, promoting our website and stubby coolers. So if you would like one yourself, head over to wheelybinsmayhemrepublic.com. You can pick one up there and we'll express post it straight out to you.
Yeah, fantastic looking car, that one.
Yeah, very handy with the graphic design. Actually did all our graphic design work for the stubby coolers and some other promotional goods that we've got. Got a fair few things lined up in the pipeline for 2018. It's going to be an exciting year.
More times continue to tumble. And Evans starting a lap. Avoiding traffic coming out of that pit lane is going to be a deciding factor in the race tonight.
Yeah, you stick out right onto a bad spot and then right into that first sweeper. So it will be a thing to whether the oncoming traffic down the straight, get your car up to speed and put it into the corner, and you're a little bit out of timing. You could be slowing up the car coming down the main straight.
And having a car right on your tail for that 2, 3, 4 complex is going to be an uncomfortable feeling, so got to get the car out of the lane and get it boogieing pretty quickly.
Not something you want on cold tyres. As we see, Jason Lee's also joined the session, possibly having some internet issues tonight as we see him flashing around there on the track. Obviously he may be a little bit jet lagged flying in from Australia all the way to England for tonight's race.
Railway's still blinking, it's very tiresome, that flight.
Thomas McMillan's also joined us here tonight. The Unlimited Servers car.
He appears to just be taking his time entering this lap. Trying to find a bit of space to have a real good crack at it.
Yeah, getting some heat into the brakes, heat into the tyres. He's already put down a 142, so going for a shootout to better that again.
I hope he can maximise turn 1.
Great entry and exit.
Very smooth, very planted.
Concentration on the face.
Nose is online and very nicely through Maggot Beckett's end chapel onto that Academic straight. Very tidy, not too squirmy at all through the back of Stowe. It'll be a very nice lap from Thomas.
Certainly very good at putting the car on point into the apexes, not too much curb, keeps the car settled. A little bit of a lift around the left-hander, up over the rise, down on the brakes.
Rear's just sort of letting go a little bit there. Coming up to the line with a 141, moves himself up to 4th. Nice committed lap there from Thomas McMillan.
It was, he led into that well and Managed to take some time off his previous. 1:41.9 around here. It's a very quick time.
Looking further back into the 10.
The number 17 of Shane Evans sitting in 6th at the moment, the 1:42.
Just caught the back end of JC Richards starting his lap. Looks like the car was a bit tail happy, so that's not going to leave him with a lot of confidence heading into 1 or 2.
No, he's probably lightened that car right up for qualifying with an empty tank of fuel. Left him with a little bit less traction than he was probably expecting.
Striking looking livery on that car though.
"22 drivers so far tonight in the session. 7 minutes remaining to go here in qualifying.
We see a few cars now rolling out of the lane, so there's a few drivers with some unfinished business on that timesheet.
Been in, made a few adjustments after their first time, and back out for another run.
See if we can get anyone challenging Nick Cummings at the top.
Thomas McMillan looks like to be out on another flyer of a lap. See if we can get some improvement on the 1:41.9. There'll be some very close racing in the top 6 cars tonight. Between Nick, Jamie, Duran, Thomas, Shane and Kyle. If JC might be there to mix it up as well.
Definitely got ourselves a good gig watching these guys go to work, because it is going to be some fantastic racing. Just by the times already on the timesheet, we're going to see some fantastic racing.
As we see our provisional pole sitter at the moment head back out on the track, Nick Cummings, looking to clean sweep this round 3 with a win tonight and take away the $20 iRacing voucher courtesy of West End Mazda. He's come in like a storm to this Venom series, missed out on the first 2, joined in on the 3rd round, and managed to take the first 3 races straight out. That was a hat trick. Missed out on the 4th last week at Bathurst, unfortunately, due to some errors with his steering wheel, but pulled a 2nd nevertheless from rear of field, so that could have been his race. He could have had 4 from 4. Duran causing the upset there and taking last week's Bathurst race.
Nick will be definitely looking to make some redemption here.
Yeah, he had a stranglehold on this round straight up early on, and he wanted to finish off strongly and do what he intended to do, I suppose, when he came into this first round, and win some races and see if Duran can hold the flame to him tonight.
From the timesheet, it looks like it might be a close battle with him up the front. But I guess we'll see in a few minutes when this session wraps up.
Jamie McKnight also had a bit of bad luck at the mountain last week. Bit of contact with Kyle Stokes coming up through the cutting, the side-by-side action, and unfortunately Jamie was the loser out of that battle, and lost a lot of time and some damage to his vehicle, so managed to fight his way back to a respectable position, but cost him a few points in this round, so he'll be hungry to also gain some points over Duran and take it to Nick too.
I'm thinking no race car driver wants his bad luck at Bathurst, but it seems to follow everyone around at times.
A big hello to all the people in the YouTube chat this evening. Thank you for joining us and watching tonight's broadcast. We hope you enjoy it. Get to say hello in the chat, have a bit of a chat around. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. It's all constructive around here. We hope you enjoy the racing though.
Just having a look at that, and my boss just left a nice comment for me.
Good to see everybody's on board. If you are watching, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You won't miss any of the upcoming action for round 4 of the Venom series, which will be kicking off next month. Haven't quite come up with the schedule for that yet, but it's going to be some good racing and a battle for the championship of this 4-round series that we've had. It's been a no-holds-barred sort of series, and a little bit of argy-bargy and biff, and no whinging or complaining about it. Just get out there and let your racing do the talking, and it's been quite good.
That's an opportunity that drivers do really quite relish, is just driving. And that makes for a really good series.
It does, and the first round we had Ned Oath. He took out the first round there, the Venom series, and Duran taking out the second. And we'll see if Duran can make it 2 from 2 rounds tonight, or will Nick spoil his party? Because Nick is on track to spoil the party for Duran.
As far as the qualifying seems to go at this moment, it seems like Nick has got this race on a stranglehold at the minute.
When it comes to lap times, certainly, as long as he has no equipment failures or anything like that, he's definitely a strong contender for tonight's race. Another minute to go in the qualifying session. Those heading out on the track will be the ones to get their lap in. We've also seen Rodney Phillips join the server as well. Sitting in pit lane, hasn't put down a time yet. Oh, he's just put down a time of a 1:44, which sits him back in 18th at the moment. But a strong racer and a very strong contender from the rear of the field, and fights his way back. 45 laps around here will be an advantage for him, gives him time to get it done. Always loves a challenger starting from the rear of the field and fighting his way back up to the front. So definitely someone to watch coming through the pack.
And this is the thing, with 2 pit stops coming up in our race tonight, not necessarily the person who starts on pole going to run away with the race. It could be someone starting further down, running a superb strategy.
Yeah, getting those pit stops done cleanly, not getting any speeding pit lane penalties. Also exiting the pit cleanly, especially at this track. You got to make sure you stay within the lines, or you could end up with a pit lane penalty for exiting the pits incorrectly. So that's something also to watch for at this circuit.
And not only have we given them an hour at Silverstone, difficult track in its own right, giving them something to think about on the way.
Jamie McKnight out on track for one last crack at this pole position. A lot of attitude on that car as it came into the corner. Using every ounce of the track right out at the curb.
Really got to fly that WP concrete car right around this circuit and maximise every apex to get every split second he can.
It's certainly very keen to take the pole position for tonight's race. Quite hungry out on the track at the moment. Nick's already celebrating with the team, but we'll see if Jamie can come in with an upset and take that pole position away. Duran's also put down a nice time, 1:41.8. The top 4 cars all in the 1:41s. Around the last corner, down the straight, we'll see what Jamie's going to put through for this lap.
1:41.963.
Not quite enough to give him pole position here tonight at Silverstone.
Is enough to keep him in position too, however, so it'll make for a great start off the line between him and Nick.
It's going to make for some great racing, and pole position, I'm not too sure on this track. Is it on the inside of the first corner or on the outside? I'm guessing it's the inside for that first turn.
I guess we'll find out.
So, if Nick Cummings sitting in position 1, taking the pole position tonight with a 1:40.7. Awesome time by him. Jamie McKnight with a 1:41.5. Duran sitting in position 3 with a 1:41.7. Thomas a 1:41.9 for position 4. Shane Evans a 1:42. Number 5, and that was in number 5. Kyle Stokes sitting in position 6 for 1:42.0. JC Richards back in number 7. Had a great game there, a bit of a strong contention there in the last part of qualifying. Number 8, Pete Davison, doing well in the Falcon to get himself on the grid in position 8. Jacob Knight in number 9, and Zach Best snuck in for a number 10. That rounds out the top 10 for tonight's race, the Silverstone 260. 13 seconds to go, and the cars will start gridding. It's going to be a good race, Matt. Hope you've got a drink ready, because it's going to be an hour behind the mic.
We're all ready for it, and let's wish our competitors the best of luck for a great race. Some cars start to grid up on the circuit.
So kick into the race session. 45 laps here at Silverstone. It's 260 kilometres, 1 hour, 2 pit stops, 70 litres is maximum fuel in these vehicles for tonight's race. That's 2 compulsory pit stops to make it to the end. We've got round 3 on the line. It's tied up between 3 to 4 drivers tonight, so interesting to see who's going to take the top prize for round 3 in the Venom series and the glory of tonight's race here at Silverstone.
I think our drivers are all going to want to avoid is that first lap corner and the following Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel corners, as it will be a bit of a hairy situation on the opening lap.
Brilliant track here in the UK. It's the Silverstone. You see all the cars hitting the grid. Not too long to go and the revs will start to rise. Great views across the grid. As the revs start to rise, we'll get a start here. The Silverstone 260 is away. Awesome start by Nick. Thomas has made a great jump from the second row of the grid right up beside Jamie.
Thomas has bolted to make the other two look like they were sleeping on that start.
Certainly has. Duran sitting there in 4th just watching these guys go. Hammer for Tom and say, I'll sit back here. Nick has already gained himself almost half a second out in front, as we see Jamie take a detour out off the grass. Whoa, back onto the track into the side of Duran.
There's a wide line.
That's
awesome
unfortunate.
carnage.
That's hurt Duran and Jamie in this championship. Nick is now out in front running away with it.
Like we said at the beginning of qualifying, Nick just needs to look after his own race. Unfortunate for Duran though.
Yeah, Jamie come across the green stuff there and straight into the door. It was very unfortunate. See if we can get a replay of that incident.
He has definitely opened up that gap between himself and looks like Kyle Stokes behind. He's gonna make second place work to catch him, that's for sure. He'd had a cracking start from 10th right up to where he was before, unfortunately, bouting the concrete. A lot of what we were talking about before about them just maintaining their gap sort of thing and pressing on with consistency. We'll see them do well as the other competitors fall away in front. I'll definitely be wanting to get around Duran and getting some lap speed if Duran can't keep up with the front of field. Jamie's just got to focus now on making sure he keeps his laps clean, keeps the car in a manageable condition and pushes on. This will sort of give everyone a bit of a gap to Just sort of think about how they're going to attack this race. Oh, it came through.
Four laps into this 45 lap race. The manual safety car with Nick Cummings out there in front, Kyle Stokes sitting there in position 2. Thomas McMillan in 3, Jacob Knight in 4, number 5 JC Richards, 6th Jackson Harlow, Duran made his way back up to 7th, Tyson in 8th, Rodney Phillips in 9, and Ian Holt in position 10.
Looks like we've still got a few corners now before we're going to go green at the end of this lap.
Just having a listening in on the race control channel. Evidently there was some debris out there after that contact, and they've had to send some officials out there to clean up.
All the cars gaggling up now just before I restart here.
Restart as they come out of the final corner. Nick has control of the race. Will count them down for the start. Kyle and Thomas will be looking for a jump here.
Gonna play his cards close to his chest here.
They're away again. Thomas has got a great jump there. So does Kyle. Bit of controversy about passing before the start-finish line also. Could be some penalties handled out here.
Just there and hope they can keep it a clean run through this time by.
Yeah, a bit of controversy on that restart. A little bit of controversy on the race radio between Jackson and Tyson. Unfortunately, Ian Holt was a bit of a loser out of that, and got passed by a few cars before the start-finish line. The race stewards will be having a look at that. Sounds like there could be a few hot helmets out there after that restart. There's a few disagreements happening on the race radios between the teams. Straight away, Nick's out to a almost 1.5 second lead over Kyle.
There's one time where the lap speed is really going to help Nick, is getting away from the pack, setting his own rhythm.
Yeah, as he had done straight off the start, first 4 laps he had set that rhythm and was rolling away. Oh, as we see another crash back on the main start, that's Rodney Phillips. It's crashed up there on the main straight. Let me see if I can get a bit of a replay of what happened there. He's straight back to the pits, so he's come around that last corner, stuck it out onto that green mat and a bit of grass and into the wall. Big damage to the Vodafone car. Lucky for everybody else able to get around him. A few actually had to dive for the grass, but big damage to that car. I don't know if we'll see him back out on the track this evening.
AstroTurf is a car killer when you get it wrong.
Bit of a battle going on between Tyson and Jackson here once again, with Pete Davison sitting right on the tail. A lot of damage to the front of Tyson's car. Jackson's all over the back bumper and Pete Davison behind him, just waiting to pounce on these two positions.
You want to be getting this sorted out pretty quickly, because it looks like it could grow into a nice battle.
Yeah, they're fighting it out a bit like a sprint race, but 45 laps, we're only 6 down. There's a long way to go yet, guys.
As he seems to have got by him now. On the start-finish straight, Jackson seems to have made the move. Can he hold it into turn 1?
Gone for that dive up the inside. Tyson's fighting back hard. It's a drag race down. Oh, as we see Tyson
he's
get it
lost
loose.
the car.
Still side by side. Pete's going to try and sneak up the inside here as well.
Pete looks like he might get 2 for the price of 1 if this goes pear-shaped.
Tyson's car's looking a little bit untidy there with that damage. Not quite as planted to the track there as Pete and Jackson's.
Definitely looks like he's got a real battle on his hand, not only with the driver in front and behind, but with the car itself.
Good to see Jamie McKnight making a battle back. He's up into 7th position. Clawing his way back after that incident in the first 2 corners. Managed to go grass bashing and ran into the side of Duran, who's just up the road in 5th position.
He'll be looking to make a clean pass around JC in the PRA car and get right up with Duran and see if he can't get that position back off him.
Yeah, because Duran's definitely putting the pressure on to Jacob at the moment. Jacob's having to cover everywhere while trying to fight Thomas for a position.
And Jamie looks like he's really locked onto that battle pack now.
It'll be a drag race down the start, all sort of in the draft of each other. JC's having a stellar performance so far this race. Good to see him right up there in 6th position.
Really just showing great consistency there from JC. Always able to show good pace when it's needed. Looks like Jamie's just getting at the inside of him.
Made big gains again.
Duran looks really aggressive coming into Style Corner.
Moved up the inside side by side. All this fighting back here for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th has allowed Nick to slip away again. 5-second difference from 1st to 2nd.
Really making advantage of that pace that he's got in that car.
It certainly is. It's going to be hard for these boys to gain some ground and catch him.
They're going to need Nick to make a massive mistake, or they're going to need to make some great plays soon to get some track space.
Well, with a lap time of around 1:42 average around here, the last car on the track is already 39 seconds behind, so we're going to see some lapped cars possibly in the next 10 laps. That'll also influence the way these guys have to drive.
And that could really tell if Nick's going to come across any dramas if the lap traffic doesn't get out of the way or does impede him in any way.
Back in the pack as we see the 17 car, Shane Evans moving up a spot to position 13. Frank Speed In position 14, Ian Wiley in 15 in the Orcon Steel Falcon. Daniel Richardson in position 16. And Brendan Ryan, unfortunately, has had to go a lap down. Has had to make a pit stop there, possibly for some damage. Looks like a toe job. Back to pit lane with 2 minutes. In the lane, back to 17th. See the gap starting to widen now between Thomas and Jacob. Kyle and Thomas are starting to lead away and try and gain some ground here on Nick, while Jacob and Duran are fighting. And then we've got JC and Jamie fighting further back. It's costing these guys time.
It actually surprised me that that gap hasn't decreased between JC and Duran. I'd say Jamie's keeping JC's mirrors full and Duran's keeping Jacob's mirrors full.
Jackson's also managed to make some gains up into position 8. Pete Davison 9. Wade Michaels managed to get past Tyson, as well as we see the Chief in number 17 come out underneath Tyson. Possibly looking like the Chief's actually been in for a pit stop already early on in this race. Possibly playing the reverse strategy, as in get the first quick pit stop out the way, then 2 later pit stops in the race.
Definitely a good strategy to work with if Shane can make it work. Got to be able to manage that late race tyre degradation, be able to offer those fast laps at the end if he's got a battle on his hands.
Duran still keeping Jacob mirrors full. Looking for a way past. So evenly paced, these guys at the moment.
It appears that Jamie's got past JC this lap. And he'll be making active work now to get onto the back of Duran and join in this battle to put Jacob down a couple of positions.
Yeah, he's made a big gain there. I'm wondering if JC had made a mistake to allow Jamie to get past.
Does look like it because he was keeping him held up before.
As we see
JC has a massive hit.
I'm not quite too sure what happened there. He was just off the corner and a bit loose. Look at the replay. Yeah, just a little bit loose, overcorrection and straight into the wall, and that's it. That's engine over.
Unfortunate for the race stars PRA Commodore. George JC will put the PRA team to good use and get that Commodore back out on track.
Yeah, with quick engine swaps here at the track, we should see that car back out there, and he probably barely lose a lap out of that, because hopefully he could roll that straight into pit lane and not have to take a tow.
It looks like he was able to do just that, so it looks like he might have struck some luck, even though that was an unfortunate incident for him to have.
Nick now out 7 seconds in front, doing it easy.
Got a commanding gap here over Kyle and Thomas, who are just keeping each other occupied at the minute.
Pace of that Falcon is mind-blowing.
Might have to go knock on his transporter later and go get that set up off him.
Certainly talented around this track, or around most of the tracks. Very fast race car driver. Kyle and Thomas are still going at it.
We do have Jamie has bought into that battle now with Duran and Jacob. They'll be keeping each other occupied now to try and close that gap up to the front 3 cars.
There will be, and I'm wondering if there's a bit of animosity between these two drivers, with Jamie making the mistake earlier and running to the side of Duran and taking them both out. So I'm not sure Duran will be too forthcoming when it comes to Jamie trying to stick the nose up the inside in this race.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make it easy on him. He's definitely going to work through that position after he cost them both a bit of time in the opening laps, but that's to be expected in racing.
Go on board with Duran, sitting right behind with the wing of Jacob Knight. Goes for a dive down the inside.
Our corner is such a difficult place to get that pass done because you've got the quick one coming up at the Vale they can get you back if they're on the inside for that second corner. Duran would just be happy to have Jamie out of his mirrors for the minute here. He's looks like he just wants to get by.
Jamie's really pulling some wide lines. As we look out off the back of Duran, he got a little bit of grass there. That's caused...
Let him run wide. Thankfully the next corner's a right-hander, so he's not so susceptible to Jamie behind.
No, that was almost an opportunity for Jamie. Round on lap number 13.
We see this battle at the front with Kyle and Thomas. Not moving at all, they're just both very evenly matched in terms of pace.
It's probably a good idea if they just push a little bit on each other. A long race here, 13 laps down so far of 45. They can just
try and close that almost 10-second gap up to Nick.
Although it does appear that Kyle might be slowing Thomas down a little bit there, especially under brakes. Thomas rushed right up under the bumper of Kyle's Commodore. As we see Kyle run wide.
Makes a mistake and lets Thomas through. Kyle can get it back on track. He might just be best to follow Thomas and see if he can stick with him. It looks like Jacob's going to take it as well.
Jamie McKnight going to try and get up the inside with Duran. Jamie right up on the bumper of Kyle. Duran out there on the outside.
This is not what any of them wanted.
No.
It looks like Thomas is also having a bit of an issue up front there. He's closed right back up, and this battle pack is now alive.
Certainly is. 5 cars here. 2 of them people who are right in the running for winning this round. Great battle pack.
Thomas just runs a little bit wide at Beckett's into Chapel and lets them all by.
Unfortunate for Thomas.
Handing Jacob the lead and the pressure of this 4-car battle pack.
Yeah, Jacob will certainly have some sweat on the brow. Taking a look in car at Jacob, and he actually looks pretty cool, calm and collected with the visor down, even though the pressure's mounting.
Any good race car driver knows to turn the mirrors up the other way and just keep looking forward. That's where the racetrack's coming at you. And puts the pressure on.
Really good battle here for these guys.
He tries to put the All-Star motor car just where it won't fit on the outside there. Might lose a position to Kyle at the end of the straight.
Jamie McKnight's sitting back there in 5th at the moment behind Kyle. These 3 up in front of him are fighting for position. We see Duran dive down the inside again. Will he be able to make this work?
and we can just play his cards close to his chest here. May give him quite a dividend if these three have a little bit of a coming together.
Oh, as we see Kyle just step up on the grass and run, push Jamie wide on that corner, drop back. Jamie's made that move.
Made it look easy thanks to Kyle's slight error there.
Kyle straight back on the bumper. Jamie though doesn't want to give that position up easily and goes down the inside. Jamie closes the door. Kyle
Oh,
unable to
a slight touch from Duran now on Jacob.
Duran and Jacob, wow.
And that's just given Jamie the second position he was after.
Just a little bit of a bump there from Duran into the side of Jacob. Unfortunate there.
Definitely would have been no malice intended. We're just trying to get that pass done after so many laps.
No, probably a bit of an overreaction on the car's behalf. Really, it was just more than a little bit of a door rub, really, and sent Jacob into a bit of a slide, unfortunately. But yeah, Jamie McKnight now moves up to second position with a bit of a gap between him and Jacob. That'll leave.
Jacob's now got to defend off from Thomas and Kyle. The battle pack you're kind of afraid to take your eyes away from at the moment because everything's happening if you blink.
There's quite serious moves. Jacob's covering really nicely on the corners though, not giving Thomas the opportunity to slip the nose down the inside. Kyle's sitting on his bumper as well, wanting to follow whatever Thomas does. If he makes a move, he wants to be right on the bumper of Thomas to get through as well. And Duran also back on the train, looking to gain those spots back that he lost. As we said, the Chief Shane Evans up to position 8th now, sitting behind Jackson. Pete Davison in 9, Wade Marshall in 10th. Ian Wiley in 11, Frank Speedy back in 12. JC Richards slid all the way back to 13 after that incident coming out of the final turn onto the straight. Got the car out on the track. Didn't lose a lap, luckily. That's good for him. Which also means he's got his pit stop done also.
He's got a bit of a battle with Daniel Richardson going on there, but it will definitely help out JC if he can get that lap time back to where it should be and get back up with those front cars throughout the course of the next round of pit stops.
As we see lap 17 roll around for Nick, these guys will be starting to look for some a pit stop shortly, depending on the strategy. Probably run this tank right out and fill up for the full 70 litres to stretch it out for the next quarter of the third of the race, and then a short fill towards the end.
Nick, it's really Nick's race to lose at this point. He's just got to keep maintaining that gap and see if Jamie can catch him up.
Maintaining a gap of 18 seconds, it's hopefully it should be an easy task for him.
Just don't want to see him overstep the mark and make a mistake and accidentally put it in the concrete. There's a whole gaggle of cars behind him that are happy to take his position.
Well, that's right. One speeding infringement coming out of pit lane will send him back for a penalty, and that will send him back that time and back into the pack again.
And around Silverstone circuit, going back into the pack will make it difficult to get to the front, as we've seen from the paddock packs on track tonight.
Pete Davison doing well up into position 6th. Now chasing on the bumper of Jackson. As we have stepped away and seem to have lost Duran has slipped, and Kyle have slipped all the way back. Pit stops starting to take effect. That's what that was. So we've seen
They're trying to negate the pain of falling back in that battle pack and try and use the pit stop to their advantage, I'd say.
As we see Nick also come in for a pit stop. Jacob Knight also in pit lane along with Thomas McMillan. Be interesting to see if Thomas can get the jump on Jacob here and maybe get that pass done.
Interesting to see Jamie has stayed out and kept going on. If he extracts some more speed out of the WP concreting car.
Glad to see these cars exit back onto the track now into traffic. I hope there's no biffy or barge. Jacob looks like he's got a huge jump on Thomas coming out of pit lane.
Looks like he slotted right back into that battle pack with Kyle, and Duran wants to have a go, but he sent him off the track there. That will be looked at post-race, I imagine.
Yes, the Venom series, it's all got to be laid out there on the track. There's no after-race penalties here in this series. So the guys have just got to dig the teeth in and bite it out and make the most of what they can do. As we see Jamie McKnight hit into the pit lane now. I'm reckon he'll be hanging out for this pit lane after that incident on the first lap. He's been fighting with that car with a bit of damage. Get this car repaired and get that pace back happening again.
See, with those round of pit stops, that's brought JC right back into this battle, sitting up right behind Duran there.
We'll just see Jackson come into the pit lane. I hope he doesn't get an unsafe entry for that. Might have been a little bit of a late turn in there on the yellow markers.
Doesn't take a lot to get a pit infringement here. It's quite a tricky pit lane. You're coming out of a right-hander, and then you've got to dart really fast right into the lane.
You see Jamie McKnight exiting the pit lane now. Kyle Stokes coming around that first bend. We'll see where it puts him back out on the track. Jamie's managed to hold that position. Kyle, however, with warm tyres, going to gain a few seconds here on the back of Jamie. Having the pit stops has stretched these guys out a little bit now.
Ooh, Thomas is out in the back having an incident.
What has happened there with Thomas? Back on the replay, a little bit of grass, a little bit loose, out on the grass again. Just kissed the wall there. Hopefully not too much damage, as he's taken a tow straight back to the pits, so must have been something quite serious there.
An hour is a long time to concentrate at the Silverstone circuit, and it is proving that tonight with some of these drivers coming in croppers on some really basic errors that most race car drivers always face at difficult circuits.
That's right, as we just wind up lap 19 for Nick, and he'll proceed on lap 20. Still out there doing it really nicely. Almost 18.5 seconds between him and Jamie McKnight. As you see,
It
Pete
doesn't look like Nick's under any stress at all. He's just cruising this one through.
Certainly, as we see a final couple of cars into pit lane. Pete Davison and Wade Michael into pits. Hung out there quite late. Used that fuel right up and making the most of it.
Will that give them a better track position if they ran their stint right out with fuel? Means a second stop will negate track position.
See Pete Davison come back out just in front of Jackson. Managed to hold that position. Cold tyres though for Pete.
Jackson's definitely going to want to make a move pretty quickly to maximise on the cold tyre benefit that Pete's under.
Shane Evans managed to move up to position 7. He took an early pit stop strategy, so probably in the next 3 laps Shane will probably be looking to dive in for another pit stop.
Like we were discussing before, it definitely means if you can take that early stop and backward strategy the race, it can definitely play into your hands at the end of the race.
Whoa, as we see Tyson, huge off, managed to keep it off the wall. A replay of what happened there. Just out onto the ripple strip. Very lucky not to spin it around and put it into the Armco in that corner. Jumps back onto the track. Way across the grass and just clipped the wall. And has also done himself a tow back to the pits. Taking its toll tonight, 21 laps so far.
Silverstone is proving to be a punishing racetrack this evening.
Certainly is, as we already have 6 retirements so far, that people that haven't come back out on the track again.
Meanwhile, those that are still out on track are still pushing extremely hard to make up that gap to Nick and try and salvage what they can out of 2nd and 3rd and so on.
You see Kyle come up on the side of the lap traffic, Daniel Richardson at the moment. Duran now about to make the pass on Daniel. Daniel just holding his line nice and clean. Duran's decision to make his way past. Certainly spaced these guys out again since the pit stop. And let them all have a bit of breathing space, which is possibly what they needed about 15 laps ago.
Yeah, they could have done with a bit of a breather back then. Now they all seem to have a bit of a gap from Jamie back to Kyle, and Kyle back to Duran. Seems a bit more easier now than it was a few laps ago when they were in that intense battle pack.
Cockpit with Duran currently running 2nd in round 3. No doubt he was hoping for a really good result here tonight, and for possibly some unfortunate results for Nick to grab this round, but almost halfway through this race he's back in 4th position. Nick streaking ahead, almost 20 seconds now.
We have seen a few drivers make some minor errors which have cost them some cars, so anything's still possible, but it doesn't look likely at this stage from Nick.
Brendan Ryan back in position 13, 1 lap down, still out there fighting this Silverstone circuit. Lap 23, halfway through this race. We knew it was going to be tough, an hour out on this track. 45 laps is grueling. We say 45 laps here at Silverstone is hard, and they could do it for a lot more at Bathurst, I suppose.
That is the thing though, once you're in that rhythm, he can stay in that groove and really make some pace, as we can see Nick doing tonight. Some others have just a slight lapse in concentration for a corner will get those wheels on the AstroTurf and fly you into the concrete.
Pete Davison in 8th position. Jackson behind him. Jackson looking very racy there on the back of Peter. Maybe looking to pick up that position. Back to Frank's speed. The hot dog still doing really well in this race. Him and Ian been battling it out for the last couple of laps. Ian's dropped back a little bit now. Awesome racing by these guys. Good to see them still out in the track, putting the laps down. Going to gain some good points here in this round for the championship for Frank. It's just what he needs.
Yeah. Starting 17th and currently running 10th, it's definitely going to help him in terms of consistency with just getting some points on the board tonight.
Back towards the pointy end, Jamie McKnight still sitting in second. Kyle Stokes dropped back a little bit, 3.8 seconds behind now, with Duran sitting on his bumper looking for the pass. See these guys push up a little bit on Jamie and we'll have ourselves a battle again to the end of the race. However, we're not sure what happens. They may have some more debris and have to call a manual safety car again and bunch these boys back up for the final couple of laps of this race. We're not too sure.
May just be the thing they need to liven it up if someone could leave a mirror lying around. I'm not sure if something happened with Kyle there. He was quite a bit further ahead of Duran, but we just caught up with him there, so interesting to see if anything's happened previously. As Duran dives down the inside.
Whoa, bit of contact there.
Not letting that happen.
Kyle might have come in a little bit too hot into that corner and outbraked himself, which has allowed Duran to dive down the inside, but then put him in harm's way as Kyle's come scooting through the corner, hitting the understeer and a little bit out of control, and used Duran as a bit of a bump stop.
I wonder if he's seen that All-Star car pop out and had a bit of a panic on the brakes going into that corner. Looks like the two of them are just getting on with it now though, so hopefully we can see that gap diminish and see if we can have another go at that pass.
Fair amount of damage there to the front of Kyle's car. I wonder if that's making any effect on his steering.
We'll see as they start to come down the hanger straight down to Stoke Corner and see if Duran's got a bit stronger of a straight line.
Up 25, and there's the top 10. Nick out in front, 20-second gap between him and Jamie. Kyle in third, Duran in fourth, Jacob fifth, JC up to sixth, Shane Evans in 7. Number 8 we've got Jackson Harlow. Number 9 Pete Davison and Frank Speed in position 10.
Doesn't look like that damage on the front of Kyle's car is hampering him too much.
That little incident's widened the gap between him and Jamie McKnight though. Jamie's now 7.5 seconds further up the track. It was 3 seconds before that incident happened, as we see Brendan Ryan just coming out of his pit stop also back out onto the track.
Still going to be a fair way from Jamie to Nick.
Lap 26, also we'll be looking for Shane Evans to dive in for an early pit stop after pitting earlier on in the race. He was a little bit out of sequence with the rest of the guys. He can't be far off coming in for his second pit stop.
Has seemed to have lost a little bit of speed from the cars he was battling up ahead, so maybe about this time where he goes in for that second stop.
He'd be getting to that point where the edge is starting to wear off those tyres. Wade Michaels also been in for his second pit stop. We're running a nice clean car in the monster Wheelybins livery tonight, Falcon. Trying to chase down Brendan Ryan.
To check out and see if Shane comes in this lap.
Just looking at the gap, Nick hasn't managed to gain any more time on Jamie, or Jamie's gained in a little bit of time. Still sitting at 19 seconds the difference now. So maybe Nick may have dialed it back a little bit to preserve the car, or Jamie's really starting to turn the heat up in the last part of this first session.
It'd probably be in Nick's best interest to dial out the car so he can sort of run to his second stop a bit more conservatively and not really push the car. But he's got 19 seconds over Jamie, so he can afford to slow it down for a lap or two.
Best lap for this race, a 1:41. Been some great pace. Dropped it back a little bit now, doing 1:42s. Jamie McKnight's done a 1:41.7 as his best lap, doing a slightly quicker lap time than Nick with a 1:42.0.
Nick obviously just conserving that lead and trying to make Jamie work for it. Looking further back at Kyle and Duran again, it seems that they sort of spread out through one half of the circuit and close back in through the other half.
Certainly spread the pack out here this evening. Tight battle packs earlier on in the race. Will we see another incident come up tonight and possibly throw out another yellow? We will know that we'll make it for an exciting finish, but at the moment Nick is walking away with it.
Got a commanding lead on his way.
Certainly
Just
has.
needs someone to drop a mirror now.
We're at lap 28 of this 45 lap race at Silverstone. I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be back with you shortly.
Welcome to West End Mazda. My name is Jamie McKnight, dealer principal, along with my business partners Terry and Adam Dodd. At West End Mazda we're very proud of many things. We're especially excited to be Australia's oldest Mazda dealer, established in 1963. We're also #1 dealer for new vehicle sales in Australia and have been many times. And last year in fact, we were #1 globally. We've won the prestigious Mazda Master Dealer Award 17 times, along with multiple Dealer of the Year awards, as you can see. West End Mazda is a family-owned business, employing over 160 staff, including apprentices, sales trainees, and parts interpreters too. So if you're looking to join an amazing team, we'd love to hear from you. We're Mazda's largest parts wholesale dealer in Australia too, with our recently opened massive spare parts facility at Kings Park. We have showrooms at 2 great locations, North Parramatta and Blacktown, with the Mazda range on display and 100 quality used cars for sale at any time. And our finance teams are on hand 7 days a week to assist you with your new used purchase. We have 2 very large service workshops servicing over 100 vehicles per day at both Parramatta and Blacktown. Booking a service is easy via our website or our smartphone app. If you're in a hurry, we offer Mazda Quick Service, which means we can have you back on the road in under an hour. And you can have a complimentary coffee and use our complimentary Wi-Fi, all while you wait in comfort. West End Mazda is open 7 days per week at 590 Church Street, North Parramatta and 106 Sunny Holt Road, Blacktown. Plus, our service departments are open 6 days a week for your convenience. So come in and experience West End Mazda for yourself. Next time you're thinking about your new Mazda, I'm sure you'll be very impressed.
Welcome back to Wheelybins TV, the Silverstone 260. The action has been fierce here tonight for the early parts of the race. While we were away, a few pit stops took place there, Matt.
Yeah, we had, as we went to the break, Duran, Jacob and JC all came in and made their stops. And we also had Kyle make his stop as well. So that battle pack is closed right up at the front with Kyle and Duran. And they'll be looking to keep that battle spicy.
The gap towards the front between Jamie and Nick also hasn't changed either. Still at 19 seconds, so those two keeping the distance between each other quite even. No one's getting a bit of a gain there at all.
I'll be making a late race play, I reckon. He's got 19 seconds to make up, Jamie, so he's got his work cut out for him.
Certainly does. 31 laps down here.
Heading towards the back half of this race. They've got fresh tyres and they'll all be slightly renewed after that stop to press forward a little bit more.
Yeah, no doubt that the vehicles needed a pit stop. No doubt the drivers have probably needed a pit stop as well during this this hour.
Oh, as we see that Ryan and Carl having another go at each other. Getting lightly as we come through the Vale and into Club Corner. Ryan's not as close as he was a while ago.
A little bit of lap traffic here with Daniel Richardson. Steps to the right, allows these two to go in underneath.
Great driving there from Daniel to really let these boys have their own fight and not step in the way.
A few people out there that have done their second pit stops is Kyle and Duran both doing their second stop. So the first two leaders out there, Jacob Knight and JC Richards, also done their second stops. Shane Evans, second stop done. Brendan Ryan and Wade Michael. A few more cars still to come in the stop. We see Pete Davison hitting pit lane right now, currently in 7th position. Fill up with fuel for the end of the race, and for a set of tyres as we see Pete extend the pit box there and had to reverse back a little bit to get back into the zone.
Something most drivers do when they're under a little bit of pressure is just overshoot the pit box.
See Pete rejoin in 10th position. They space these guys out at the moment.
The top 9 cars are on the lead lap, if I'm not mistaken. Nick's making light work of carving them all up and getting them down a lap.
Yeah, it's pretty good effort for the cars, the amount of cars still on the lead lap, as we see Duran and Kyle back at it again. Both with fresh cars, full tanks, fresh tyres. Ready to take the battle up. This is the battle for third.
These boys are going to deserve a prize tonight because an awesome battle.
Speaking of prizes, we've got some great prizes on offer in this series. The winner of this round will be getting themselves a $20 iRacing voucher courtesy of West End Mazda. Great sponsors. We thank them as we see Duran just step off the circuit there. We also have
Right moment there.
Yeah. We also have a Wheelybins stubby cooler for Mr. Consistency, I suppose you could say, between the 5 races in this round 3. Someone who has completed all of the 5 races will go in the draw to win themselves a stubby cooler and 5 random prizes. The standouts during this race, we'll have to put our heads together soon and pick out some names to see who's going to score themselves an exclusive Wheelybins pen.
I think I know where I'm sending one already, but I'll wait till the race evens out a bit at the end and see if it's making its way to that racer.
Duran having that little bit of an error early on. It's giving Kyle a bit of breathing space now. He's had Duran on his bumper for almost probably 15 laps or so. A little bit of space for him to run his own race.
May also help and hinder Duran having that slight moment, given that he might have a bit of time to focus on something other than the back of Kyle's car for a lap or two. So maybe able to refocus and come at him with some more speed when he catches up to him.
As we see our race leader's been in for his second pit stop. Jamie Knight currently leading the race with a pit stop still to do.
Interesting to see how much of that gap Jamie can close when he does take that stop.
Currently there's a 20-second gap there, so Jamie's managed to pull a bit of that gap out. So hopefully he can get this pit stop done nice and swiftly. Looking at Nick's last pit stop was 42 seconds total time in the lane. The 20-second stop, so it's pretty close. He's going for another lap around. He's stretched that out a little bit more.
Doesn't want to give up the lead really quickly.
Jacob Knight in 5th at the moment. A little bit of breathing space also. Was really in that battle pack there earlier on. Quite a bit of pressure with 4 or 5 cars behind him. Managed to keep it all together and stuck it to 5th position so far.
He's run a really tidy race tonight, Jacob, as well as car behind him who's got a bit more breathing space too, down in JC Richards down in 7th. So both of those guys have run really clean races, and coming from those battle packs, they seem to have survived, unlike some of the other competitors in them. So
yeah,
well done to those guys.
JC's managed to get in and get that engine damage that he had earlier on from that concrete wall and get back out on the track. Hasn't lost a lap, sitting in 6th position, so credit to his team.
Yeah, PRA Race Stars boys will always look after him.
Shane Evans in position 7, also completed his second pit stop earlier on. The last of the guys on the lead lap, actually.
It's great to see Shane up there trying to get close to the back of JC and really close that gap. That'll be an interesting battle if he can close it down.
After we've seen Jamie take that later pit stop earlier on, he's still out on his... still waiting to come in for his second stop. Got some good fuel economy out of that car tonight, Jamie has. Been able to stretch his pit stops right out.
He's definitely got the economy mode working overtime on that Falcon.
Although he is going to want to get a wiggle on with Nick sitting in second at the moment, starting to eat away that difference. There was a 20 and a half second difference back down to 19 and a half seconds. So over the last 2 laps, Nick's taken a second out of that gap.
Given he's got to take a 40-second odd pit stop, it's going to be Nick's race to really chase him down.
36 laps down, 9 more to go here. It's the Silverstone 260. It's been an epic race, long race. Been some winners and some losers. Plenty of exciting racing earlier on, door to door, bumper to bumper. Unfortunately, we've had about 8 cars retire from tonight's race. Pretty tough circuit.
An extremely tough circuit, Silverstone, and it's a credit to the guys still running out on the track that they're keeping at it and just keeping the consistency. A lot of these guys are going to make some solid points. Amy ducks in now for this stop.
For 4 tyres and to fill up to the end. I don't think he'll be taking the full 70 litres though. With only the 7 more laps to go in this race.
The economy mode on his Falcon implies that he will not be taking a full stop.
Which might shorten him up just a little bit.
If he can close that gap to Nick. Rolling out.
Drops the hammer out of pit lane. 15 seconds the initial gap.
Off he goes to go and chase down P1.
Sitting comfortably there in P1. Nick Cummings doing well. Keeps this up with the points standings the way they are. He will take this round out for round 3 of the Venom series. Had an awesome round. Did three races from 3 at the start of this round. Missed out on the 4th one, unfortunately. Here he is back for number 5. Stellar effort all night. Fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying. It's been unstoppable basically since the start of this race.
It was evident from practice that he was just planning to dominate tonight, and that's exactly what he's come out here and done. So congratulations to Nick and his team. Still a while to run yet, but it definitely looks like he hasn't put a foot wrong so far. It doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Jamie McKnight, the error there in the first lap with him and Duran coming together put him right back to the back of the pack. He's fought well to get back up to position 2. A little bit of damage there earlier on, but in a fight through the mid-pack, it's come out smelling like roses, and second place could be his.
He's definitely made hay while the sun shines on Silverstone circuit today, because he was behind Duran after that incident in the opening lap, and he's up in front of him now. So good work from Jamie's crew to get him and Jamie himself to get up to P2.
14-second gap back to Kyle. He's had a tough race tonight, but doing well, sitting pretty in position 3.
He's in a few interesting battles with Duran and Jacob and some of the other guys, so it's been a really good run from Kyle just to keep his nose clean and really just keep pedaling on in P3 there.
Position 4, the man Duran the Wolf. Hoping to chase down Kyle, but got a 5-second gap between him and Kyle. The laps are starting to dwindle.
That gap just looks like it keeps getting ever increasing between Duran and Kyle, so maybe that slight error onto the grass may have hurt him just a little bit more than we think.
Jacob Knight rounding out the top 5. He's had a great race tonight from the start. I can't quite recall what position he started from, but ended up in a mighty battle pack there with some of the big dogs around him, and kept his cool and composure, and has managed to come out so far in position 5, doing really well.
Yeah, gritting up from P9 and working his way up to 5th. He was included in that battle pack that had Thomas and Duran and Kyle and Jamie in it. So there was a few competitive guys behind him, but he seems to have held his own to come up to 5th and maintain where he is.
Spoke about earlier, JC done well to get that car back on the track. Position 6, Shane in 7th, chasing him down, but we've got about a 9-second gap between him and JC. I think he may run out of time there to chase that for this race. Pete Davison, for a man who hasn't been on the track in a little while for this series, been in the commentary box and unfortunately also missed last week's series, done well to pick up position 8th here tonight at Silverstone.
He has. Just back to JC for a second, he did really well to have that incident where he did. I mean, no one wanted to have the incident, but to have it and then get back to the pits, get the car repaired, really did save his race. Like you say, with Pete being in the comm box and then jumping on track, he's done really well to bring himself up to 8th tonight, and it's always good to have a good run.
Yeah, you're right with JC. It was a fortunate position on the track to roll straight into the pits instead of taking that 2.5 minute tow.
Because that really does cost some drivers some positions.
Jackson Harlow in the CMR Falcon. Little bit of a biff and a bash there earlier on, fighting with Tyson. Otherwise managed to keep that car reasonably clean, sitting in position 10. And Ian Wiley had a stellar race, stayed out of trouble, sitting in top 10. Great race for him.
He's definitely had a great race tonight, qualifying down in 18th, but then coming out and running so high up in the field is obviously encouraging for him.
Another newcomer, Daniel Richardson in the Snap-on Commodore. He's had a little bit of a rough night with the off-tracks tonight, but still managed to be out there circulating, even though a couple of laps down, but doing a good job here tonight.
Again, he's had the same fortune as Ian to qualify up the back. I mean, he gritted up in 20th, but to be running where he is, he's just kept his nose clean all night, and really with an hour at Silverstone or 45 laps, that's what you need to do.
It is a good effort, and it's good to see this consistency. Brendan Ryan back in 12th also. Had a few incidences earlier on, I believe. Had to take an earlier pit stop, but got back out on the track. Kept that pedal down, and consistency's where it is at for these guys.
A lot of these guys have made great plays to get where they are, and like you say, it is consistency that keeps them where on the track and keeps them moving up the grid, when others seem to have some unfortunate incidents and fall off the road.
Yes, well, the points for this series are only allocated if you finish a race. There's no points if you don't finish the race, so even if you're a couple of laps down, being there to grab the checkered flag at the end gets you some points, and can get you some big points too. We see Wade Michael in position 13 in that monster Wheelybins Falcon. Someone else who's done a really good job tonight.
He's been able to keep the car on the track and hasn't been involved into any incidents that I've seen happen, so he's definitely just been driving the monster Wheelybins Falcon to the line, and that's where he's needed to put it, and he's coming out a little bit better ahead of his qualifying, so That's always beneficial.
4 more laps to go here at the Silverstone track. It's been a big night. Fair bit of action earlier on. Settled out in the last 10 laps. Nick Cummings is walking away at the moment. 22-second gap back to second place. Damien McKnight's been fighting hard to try and draw that gap back in. But putting down some great lap times too, actually. Jamie's been putting down 141s pretty consistently. As you see, Kyle Stokes, his last lap of 143, Duran a 142. That gap there closing up a little bit.
Maybe Duran's found a bit more pace in that car.
The second difference between Kyle and Duran's lap times of the 143 for Kyle. Dialed it back just a little bit, possibly a little bit of traffic also on the track.
Most of those front running cars are coming up with some lap traffic.
Pretty sure Kyle and Duran were some of the first cars to go in for their second stop, so stretching it out tyre wear wise. All important setup is required for to get the tyre life out of these cars. Get that tyre pressure right, get that camber and caster correct, but still have the
Sometimes running on a lower tyre pressure might make your opening stint a bit hairier, but it will give you overall longevity.
Yeah.
These guys might have needed to do that tonight to make the stint work. Possibly how Jamie got to where he got running ultra conservative mode or ultra economy mode in the Falcon up the front there.
.43 laps down. No doubt the drivers out there are probably hanging out. The beer supplies probably ran out a long time ago. They didn't have a big enough stash beside the simulators for this race. They're probably all getting a little bit thirsty.
They all will need a bit of a drink after this one. It's a long way, 45 laps around Silverstone. But an iconic circuit, and must be a pleasure to drive it in a V8.
Might just try and jump on board here with Shane at the moment. We'll see how he's going. Shane, you got Daniel and Matt at the commentary box. Been a big race tonight, mate.
Yeah, mate, it has been.
Still focusing quite hard there, obviously.
Yeah, mate, I was just trying to keep it on the track till the end. Yeah, it's been a little bit on my own for most of the race.
Well, thanks for having a chat with us. We'll let you get back to it.
Yeah, all good, mate. No problem. Thank you.
As we can see there from Shane, it is quite a taxing circuit to do 45 laps around and keeps your hands full and your eyes full.
Yeah, that's right. 44 laps. One more lap to go. Should be coming up for a white flag this time round.
looks like the only cars Nick's going to pass anytime soon is just lap traffic.
Yeah, a bit of a listen in there on the race radio, and Pete was asking if Nick wanted to pass, and Nick was saying, no, you're fine. White flag coming up, so Nick's dialed the lap times back a little bit. See,
Happy to conserve where he is.
Pete run wide there a little bit and allow Nick to go past.
Probably happy to finish behind Nick and probably save himself an extra lap.
Well, there's that too. That's right.
Takes a little bit of grass. Maybe he's just got a bit of control that he needs. Doesn't have in that Falcon anymore.
Yeah. You see the white flag come out for Nick as he crosses around to do his last lap here at the Silverstone 260. Been a big event here tonight. It's been a long session, long race. These guys have definitely earned it tonight. Nick's had an absolute stellar performance out on track.
He has really, he's really made the rest of the guys aim towards something tonight, because he's just practice, qualifying and race dominated this session. It's a credit to how smooth he's driven the car. It's just been nose on line. It doesn't look like it's had a scratch on it all night, to be honest.
No, that's right, and it even looks clean. He hasn't been running behind much traffic, and no off tracks. Done very, very well.
He's not around the last corner. He's going to take the win.
As we see Nick take the win here at the Silverstone 260.
Well done, Nick.
Fantastic racing. Been a big...
Definitely juice it for some celebration donuts.
He led it from start to finish.
Jamie comes and crosses the line, P2.
Yeah, great driving by Jamie to make it up after that incident earlier on. And Kyle Stokes coming across in third.
Congratulations, Kyle, in third.
Yeah, some celebratory burnouts there in the end. Great racing, guys, and Nick, mate, great race, led it from start to finish. Awesome, man. How's that go?
Yeah, cheers, Dan. Yeah, it was good fun, man. It's pretty lucky by the looks of it, Jamie, to get...
Probably got too much smoke in the cabin to find the radio button.
He had pace on... he might have given me some trouble if he was closer, but no, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, no, consistency definitely won it for you. Some great consistent lap times, and the rest of the guys were just struggling to keep up with you. Congratulations, and we'll add up the points, but that pretty much puts you into the champion for round 3 of the Venom series, so congratulations.
Thanks, mate. It's been a great series. I've had no troubles with drivers at all. They've all been awesome. Yeah, I'm stoked. Thanks for the broadcasting and Limelight and Western Mazda for sponsoring.
Fantastic. Jamie into number 2. A little bit of a hectic start there for you, mate, and but managed to crawl your way back up to second position. Well done.
Yeah, g'day, Dan. Hectic would be a very good word to describe it, mate. I haven't had to battle my way from dead last in the pack for quite a while. But I just want to say a shout out to all the guys out there that gave me a bit of room when I was coming through. Obviously, they knew I was a bit quicker, and they, the majority of them just opened the door and let me through, which made it easier. But yeah, I was holding the gap to Nick for the most of the race, and I was pretty confident I could run with him if I hadn't had that little incident on lap 1. But he was by far the standout driver of the series. I'm sure everyone else would agree. him, Duran, and Kyle Stakes particularly, I think were all outstanding in the series. And yeah, I just want to thank those guys for a great championship.
Yeah, fantastic, and thank you very much for being a part of this series too, Jamie, with the West End Mazda. It's much appreciated. Kyle, number 3 this evening. Great effort, some great battles there earlier on in the race. There was a good battle pack there happening. Pretty happy to get 3rd position tonight, mate.
Yeah, over the moon, mate. Like, battles are amazing. Like, that battle that I have with Duran and Jamie at the start was, like, next on the best battles I've had this year, so I was really happy with that. But, well done to Nick. Definitely deserved it. Very quick out there. Jamie, like, he's just amazing at the moment. Like, I was there for a lap or two, but then he's gone. But, thanks to all the sponsors and stuff and people that put it together, and special thanks to you too, Dan, for put all the time and effort you put in, mate.
Not a problem at all, guys. A great event, and we'll just come back to the commentary box and discuss the performances of the evening. Thank you very much for your time. And there we have it, Matt. That's the end of the Silverstone 260, a big event.
Massive event. Congratulations to our podium and all the other guys who actually finished the race. It was a difficult one, and hope they all had a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's a long race, and possibly Shane won't be listening to me when it comes to recommending what the final race should be, because it definitely tested the endurance skills of some of the guys out here around this track. It's no lazy track to wheel a car around. 45 laps here takes a fair amount of effort.
Definitely made them work for their race tonight.
That it did.
It lasted.
Well, thank you very much, Matt, for joining me here in the commentary box. It's made it a lot easier to have somebody else here with us, and it was great to see you be able to make it through the whole session this evening with us after your computer troubles last week. But we'll see you again next time for the next round of the Venom series.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back.
Fantastic. Big thank you to our sponsors for the Venom series here at Wheelybins, Mayhem Republic, West End Mazda and Limelight Motorsport. Without their assistance, we couldn't make these races possible, and also without the help and the patronage of our members at Wheelybins Mayhem Republic, it makes all these great events happen. Everyone puts in a little bit of effort everywhere, pulls together, and we have some great, clean racing, and it's always good fun. Join us again for our next broadcast. It will be sometime mid-February. We will be looking for the round 4 of the Venom series, and to find out who the grand champion will be for the whole Venom series from 2017-2018. It's been an absolute great night. I hope you've enjoyed the broadcast here with us this evening, and we shall see you again next time out on the track. Don't forget, subscribe to our channel on Wheelybins Mayhem Republic on YouTube, and you won't miss any of the action. Want more information? Check us out on our website, wheelybinsmayhemrepublic.com. You'll find information on our races, how to join us, our schedules, some great videos, and you can also purchase yourself a stubby cooler. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the evening. We'll see you around next time, somewhere out in the great world of racing and iRacing. Catch us later.